Hey, it's Halloween one's here. I won't be talking very much, but yeah, my mom's friend's Asta from Black Clover. These are my games and apps, and I will be doing some reactions to videos. Well, this is not turning out like it's supposed to, but I will go to Little Lizard. No, Ropo. Where's Ropo? Comment which ones you would like. Like for me to watch. Well, I guess I have to search it. I really do like Ropo, so let's try 100 days of Minecraft.
Download the Domino's app today and become a piece of the Pi Rewards member to earn points toward free pizza.
When we sway, I go.
Private contractors. You possess a unique set of skills. No need to be nervous.
No reason to be nervous. They're only killers.
The warden! Why am I covered in blood and why can I see? I was in an ancient city standing in a pool of blood and surrounded by warden corpses. Ah! Why are all my people dead? I looked over and saw a scary looking figure kill the last living warden.
Soon there will be no one strong enough to stop me. Once I have absorbed all worthy souls, this world will belong to me, Bloody Herobrine.
Why would you do this? You killed my family.
Blood Warden. You're not even worth absorbing right now. Don't worry though. I'll come back and make sure you join the rest of your family.
Bloody Herobrine started to levitate, and with a huge burst of power, he vanished. I wanted to fight him, but I knew I was too weak to hurt him. I decided to leave the ancient city, vowing to get my revenge on Bloody Herobrine. On day 2, I made it out of the ancient city, still upset over the loss of my family. I walked out of the cave, and everything was so bright. The sunlight started to burn my eyes. Ah! Why does this hurt so much? Because of this, I was filled with so much rage. I heard voices, and there was a village nearby. I ran into the village and made it to the center, destroying everything in my path. What is that? A red bloody warden! I jumped at the villager and killed him. I was still mad and hungry, so I rampaged around the village, village and destroyed everything. I killed every villager that was there, devouring them one by one. My eyes started to adjust to the sunlight, and I saw the chaos that I started. What's wrong with me? I was so disgusted with myself for doing this. The villagers were all gone. I'm a monster. I ran out of the village, ashamed of what I've done. I should get out of here, fast. On day 3, I was a safe distance from the village and decided to stop running. I made it into a forest and decided to collect resources and supply myself with tools. I destroyed some of the trees in the forest and collected enough wood to make a wooden pickaxe and crafting table. I still didn't feel like I was far enough away from civilization, so I left and continued my journey. I knew that right now I was in danger to myself and those around me. Eventually, I came across a mountain that had a cave opening inside. I went inside and there was nobody around. I used my wooden pickaxe and collected enough stone to make a stone pickaxe. I then used that to get more stone. I had enough of the material and used that and the wood I had left over to build myself a home right outside of the cave. After building my home, I collected more wood from trees. But man, all of this is making me so hungry. Maybe I should go find some more villagers to feast upon? No, I couldn't believe I was thinking that. I'm not a monster, or am I? I ran back into my base and went inside my house to go get rest. Maybe I could sleep this desire for flesh off. I woke up feeling so much more refreshed. Suddenly, I heard a scream for help and rushed out of the base. I followed the scream and found a skeleton being chased by a pack of wolves. Leave me alone! Leave me alone! The wolves cornered the skeleton and were about to kill him until I jumped in front, blocking the wolves' path. They were shocked by my appearance. I roared at them to leave the skeleton alone, easily scaring them off.
Wow, thank you? You aren't gonna kill me, are you?
Of course not. I told the skeleton not to mention it and began to walk away, but he stopped me. He wanted to come with me for protection. I prefer to be alone.
Great, so you're just gonna reject me like the rest of my family.
I stopped walking away and listened to the skeleton. He introduced himself as Rattles, and he told me that he had nowhere else to go. His family told him to get lost because he was useless to them. He then told me because he was a skeleton without a bow, he was practically useless. I felt bad for Rattles because I also didn't have my family. I finally gave in and told him that he could come along. He was very excited, and we made our way back to base. On day 5, on our way back, we were suddenly stopped by bloody Herobrine.
So this is where you were hiding. You still look just as weak as before.
I was enraged from seeing him and charged at him, but he teleported away and teleported behind me.
You fool! You will never stand a chance against me without the blood items.
Blood items? What are you talking about? He told me that there are powerful blood items that were able to be crafted throughout the world.
You don't know it yet, but you are the final piece of the puzzle, Warden.
I told Bloody Herobrine that he was gonna pay for what he's done, but he just laughed at me and teleported away.
Is he gone?
Yeah, he's gone. Rattles seemed relieved. Final piece to the puzzle? What is that supposed to mean? Rattles told me that Herobrine has been going around the world, killing everyone and absorbing their essence in order to be the strongest there was. I told him that I was gonna make sure to stop Herobrine and get rid of him for everyone's sake. Rattles was happy to hear that, and we went back to base. Using the wood and stones I had left over, I built Rattles a small house next to mine. Rattles thanked me for building him a home. Of course, Rattles. I then went inside my house to think about what Bloody Herobrine was talking about earlier. Blood items, huh? I knew that if I collected them, they would help me with my revenge. I need to find them to get stronger. I wanted to find the blood items, but I didn't know where to look. I went inside of Rattles' house and asked him if he knew anything.
I've never heard of blood items, but if you want to know anything blood-related, then you need to see Ravana, the Blood Witch.
He told me that the witch lived in the swamps, not far from here. I collected more stone and crafted myself a stone sword to defend myself. After that, I left my base and made my way into the swamps in search of Ravana. As I made my way through the swamp, I encountered a large group of spiders who were covered in blood.
Bloody Herobrine has sent us to check on your progress, but I think we should just kill you now.
These guys must work for him. I charged at the spiders and tried to stab them with my stone sword. One of them easily dodged it and bit me with its poisonous fangs. I grew extremely weak from the poison and lost half of my hearts in the process. I was frustrated that I still wasn't strong enough, but I refused to let them kill me. Suddenly, an inner rage fueled me again, and my vision went dull. What happened? My vision slowly came back to me, only to reveal that all the spiders were dead. It's clear that when I get angry, my rage blinds me. Anyways, with those things gone, I think it's time to go find this so-called witch. On day 7, I finally came across a hut in the swamps. There was a witch standing outside, and she was covered in blood.
You must be the blood warden I've heard rumors about. I'm impressed that you made it this far, despite how weak you seem to be.
I got angry about her comment, and you must be Ravana, the Blood Witch. I just took down some of Bloody Herobrine's minions for your information. Ravana laughed at me and told me that Bloody Herobrine's minions are nothing compared to him. I told her that I would destroy Bloody Herobrine once I get the blood items. Ravana seemed like she wanted to help. She handed me a potion and told me that this would make me stronger. I drank it, and I suddenly grew into a full-sized warden. I even gained 10 more hearts.
Now that you're a full-sized warden, you should be able to use a warden's sonic boom to defend yourself.
We went inside of her hut, and Ravana dropped a recipe book in front of me.
To defeat Bloody Herobrine, you will need to follow this recipe book that can make the blood items that will defeat him. The blood armor, the blood sword, and the blood totem.
Ravana told me that if I was able to find these pieces, she would gladly make them for us. This was great. I was that much closer to killing Bloody Herobrine and taking my revenge. I left Ravana's hut and began following the recipe to create the first of the blood items, the blood armor.
In order for me to craft this armor, you will need to obtain a set of iron armor as well as the blood essence of a powerful spirit.
Ravana told me that it was better for me to get the iron set first before facing this so-called powerful spirit. I guess it's really strong. As I continued through the swamp, I happened to come across a cave and went inside to find that it had some iron ores inside of it. I used my stone pickaxe and started mining the ores, collecting enough of it to craft a new set of iron tools. Using my newly crafted iron pickaxe, I mined all of the iron inside of the cave and was able to craft myself an iron chest plate. I left the cave and made my way out of the swamps when suddenly I could hear the sound of people screaming. I wanted to continue my journey and find more iron, but the screams started to get louder. I decided to take a detour from my journey and ran toward the screams. On days 9 to 10, I followed the screams to a town that was completely destroyed. Who could have done this? I made my way to the center and saw Bloody Herobrine was there, and he was attacking a group of players.
Die, you peasants!
I shouted at Bloody Herobrine, and he turned around.
The Blood Warden, it looks like you've gotten a little stronger. How about we test how strong you are?
Bloody Herobrine flew down towards me, and I quickly dodged him. I used my sonic boom on him, but he was completely unaffected. He then knocked me away with an attack, greatly damaging me.
You are nowhere near strong enough for me to even consider defeating you. Get stronger and convince me otherwise. Like I said, once powerful enough, your power will serve me greatly. So long, Blood Warden.
I helplessly watched as Bloody Herobrine flew off and left the town. I was angry at how easily Bloody Herobrine beat me. Man, I weakly left the town and made my way back to base. I barely made it inside of the base when Rattles saw me and ran to help me.
What happened to you? It looks like you got run over by a mountain.
I told Rattles that I ran into Bloody Herobrine again, and he did this to me. He was getting more powerful by the minute. I don't even know what he's gonna do once he reaches his full potential. I was getting hungry again, and my desire for human flesh started to come back to me.
I'm hungry too, but I refuse to eat human flesh. And I know that deep down, you don't want to either.
Rattles was right. I didn't want to kill any more villagers, but I didn't know what else to eat. Rattles suggested that I would build a farm. I used the iron that I had left over and crafted a bucket and built the farm next to my base. Soon, I'll have a new source of food instead of killing people for it. I then pulled out the recipe book and looked into the details on finding the powerful spirit the witch told me about. The book said the easiest way to find her was by following her footprints, and her last known sighting was in the plains. Rattles came back with a herd of chickens, and we killed a few of them off. We then cooked the meat to fill our bellies. That was delicious. Now that my strength was restored, I left base and began my journey to find the so-called powerful spirit. On days 13 to 14, I made it to the plains in search of the spirit, but where could it be? Suddenly, I heard the sound of thunder, and the ground started to shake around me. What the heck was that? I looked around, but didn't see anything, so I continued my search. I walked around the plains and came across giant holes on the ground. Wait, are these the footprints? Why were they so huge? A large fog started to roll, and a booming voice spoke to me.
Who dares enter my domain?
The figure appeared out of the fog, and I quickly realized that the blood essence I needed to obtain wasn't just a spirit, but was Giant Alex. Giant Alex roared at me and sent me flying across the plains. Ouch. Okay, that hurt. I slowly got up, and Giant Alex came at me for another attack. I quickly moved out of the way and watched her destroy a tree like it was nothing. I charged her and tried slicing her with my stone sword. Giant Alex didn't take any damage and knocked me away again. I started to grow angry from this and used a sonic boom on her. It seemed to damage her because she screamed in pain. Giant Alex tried to attack me again, but I dodged them and constantly hit her with my sonic boom. I used the sonic boom one last time on her and defeated Giant Alex. She left behind something, and it was her blood essence. I collected the essence and started to leave the plains. Now that I had Giant Alex's blood essence, I needed to complete the rest of my armor so that Ravana could craft the blood armor. I saw a cave nearby and decided to venture inside. The cave was full of iron, and I used my iron pickaxe and began mining. I collected enough iron to finally complete my armor set. Now I could finally get the blood armor. I was about to leave the cave when someone told me to wait. I turned around and saw a group of zombies, and it looked very frightened. I asked them what they were doing inside of the cave, and they told me that they were hiding from Bloody Herobrine.
He attacked us. We hide in cave, but we want to go home.
We waited for it to turn into nighttime, and we left to go find the zombies' house. The zombies led me to a cave that led underground and away from the sun. We went inside and found no survivors. The other zombies were upset to see that their people were killed off, all because of Herobrine's greed for power. I offered the zombies to stay at my base, but they just wanted to be left alone. I agreed to their wishes and started to leave, but the zombies asked me to seal off the cave entrance so that no one would bother them anymore. I made it out of the cave and used my sonic boom to destroy the entrance. Bloody Herobrine is gonna pay for doing that to them and all of the mobs he has terrorized. On days 17 to 18, I made my way into the swamps and returned to Ravana's hut.
I'm surprised that you were able to actually obtain Giant Alex's blood essence. I might have underestimated you, young warden.
Thanks for the load of confidence. I gave Ravana the blood essence and my full iron set. She then placed the items into her cauldron and combined them to create my first blood item, the blood armor. Once I equipped the armor, I could feel myself getting stronger. I even gained an additional 5 hearts.
Your sonic boom should be more powerful now thanks to the armor. The more you upgrade yourself, so too shall the armor.
This was great. If I'm already this strong, who knows how strong I'll be once I retrieve the other blood items. I thanked Ravana for making the blood armor for me. She told me that it was no problem, but warned me to be careful when finding the rest of the ingredients.
The stronger you become, the more Bloody Herobrine will notice you. You cannot defeat him without the other blood items.
I told Ravana that I understood and left the hut to return to base. Once I arrived, I saw that the farm was now full of wheat. I also noticed that cows were now part of the farm too. Looks like Rattles was hard at work.
With this and the wheat, we have our own source of food.
I thanked Rattles for his hard work and collected some of the wheat to bake some bread for us. I gave Rattles a piece of the bread and told him that his family was wrong about him. You're not as useless as they say you are. Rattles thanked me, and I decided to use the resources that I had left over to upgrade the base. Now that I've gotten bigger, I needed a bigger place to live. I used a leftover stone and iron to build a bigger home for myself. After I finished upgrading, I went inside of my house when Rattles walked inside.
It's good to see that you've gotten stronger in your quest for the blood items. I think you might be able to defeat Bloody Herobrine if you keep this up.
I thanked Rattles for his support, and I told him that I was gonna beat Bloody Herobrine and avenge all of the mobs that he's killed. I knew that if I wanted to do that, I needed to find the ingredients for the other blood items first. I opened the recipe book, and the next item on the list was the blood sword. The book told me that in order to craft it, I would need blood crystals and a bloody hilt. Great. Looks like I know what I need to find next. On days 21 to 23, I left the base and followed the recipe book's instructions to finding the blood crystal. The book told me that the blood crystal was located inside of a blood temple. Once I retrieve it, I'll be one step closer to making the blood sword. As I continued my journey, I got stopped by a group of creepers, and they were all covered in blood.
Bloody Herobrine has sent us to see if you're worthy of being absorbed.
That monster is still playing around me like I'm some weakling. Well, I'm not as weak as I used to be. One of the creepers charged and blew itself up in front of me. The other creepers laughed, thinking they had me defeated. It looks like this blood armor really knew how to take damage. I barely felt anything. I quickly took down one of the creepers with my iron sword. Before the other creepers could react, I used my upgraded sonic boom to kill most of them off. There was one creeper left, but he ran away. I decided to let him go. I had more pressing matters to deal with, like finding the blood temple.
That would have been a bad idea.
Oh, you've returned. I guess the Blood Warden is still too weak. It's actually the opposite, sir. The Blood Warden is starting to get more powerful. This is fantastic news. Keep getting stronger, Blood Warden. It'll be all the more satisfying to absorb you.
I made it to the blood temple, and when I reached the entrance, I could tell that it gave off dark vibes and continued to go deeper into the blood temple. I eventually made it inside of a large room, and there was a pedestal holding the blood crystal. Yes, I walked towards the crystal, but a golem stepped out and blocked my path.
Are you here to take the blood crystal?
I told the golem that I was.
I will not let a servant of Bloody Herobrine take it.
I told the golem that I didn't serve Bloody Herobrine, but I'm trying to get rid of him. I wanted vengeance for what Bloody Herobrine did to my family. The golem calmed down and told me that he wanted to get revenge too.
If you want this crystal, then free my village from what the players have done to it. I would do it myself, but I must guard this crystal.
I agreed to the golem's deal, and I left the temple in search of the golem's village. On days 27 to 29, I began my journey in finding the blood golems. I made my way through a clearing when suddenly the world started to shake around me. Bloody Herobrine appeared floating over me, and I could tell that he'd gotten stronger than the last time I encountered him.
Blood Warden, I've heard good things about you. You've gotten stronger, haven't you?
He must have heard it from the creeper. I guess Ravana was right about him. Being interested in me, the more I got stronger. Bloody Herobrine teleported in front of me, and I immediately jumped back.
It looks like you even found a blood item. Let's see how strong that armor of yours really is.
He then punched me and sent me flying across the area. Ow! He tried to punch me again, but I dodged his attack and hit him with my upgraded sonic boom, but he just laughed it off.
You call that a sonic boom?
I knew that I couldn't defeat Bloody Herobrine now, so I decided to make a run for it. He floated up and threw red lightning at me while I was running away. He cornered me at the edge of the cliff. I didn't think there was a way to escape him.
Nowhere to run now, Blood Warden. Maybe it's time to absorb you after all.
I looked down at the cliff, and just as Bloody Herobrine tried to hit me with his lightning, I jumped. I landed at the bottom and felt embarrassed. Man, I can't even put up a fight. I looked around my surroundings and figured that I should get out of here quick. I came across a mine and decided to go inside to see if there were any resources that I could collect. Once inside, I found that the cave had some diamond ores. I used my iron pickaxe and collected all the diamonds that were inside. I then collected enough diamonds to craft myself a diamond pickaxe and a diamond helmet. But something strange happened. The moment I equipped it, the diamond helmet changed into a blood helmet.
The more you upgrade yourself, so too shall the armor.
Ravana was right. Eventually, I'll be able to upgrade all of my armor and make it stronger with better materials. I made my way out of the mine and found a village nearby. I asked one of the villagers if they knew anything about the Blood Golem's village. The villager told me that he did and said that the Golem's village is located in a desert not far from here. I thanked the villager for his help and headed for the Golem's village. On days 33 to 35, I made my way through the desert and eventually found the Blood Golem's village. But I wasn't prepared for what I was about to see. There were iron golem farms all over the village, and players were just standing there collecting the iron from the chest.
Please, you can't do this.
We can do whatever we want.
I was filled with so much rage. You will pay for this. I ran into the village, and the players were scared of my appearance.
A monster!
I slaughtered the players one by one, killing each and every one of them and devouring their flesh. Once all the players were killed, I finally came back to my senses and realized that I let my rage take over again. I wasn't happy that it happened, but deep down, I knew that getting rid of those players was the right decision. I released the Iron Golems from their farms and freed the villagers from their cages. They were all so excited and thanked me for freeing them. One of the Iron Golems came up to me.
You must be a friend of the Blood Golem. Take this and tell the Blood Golem that his village is safe.
The Iron Golem dropped me a blood sapling and told me that the Blood Golem would know what to do with it. I thanked him and made my way back to the Blood Temple. I returned and told the Blood Golem that I saved his village.
Thank you for saving my village. The players deserve whatever punishment you gave them.
I told the Blood Golem that one of the Iron Golems gave me a blood sapling, and I showed it to him.
You must have gotten this from my friend.
The Blood Golem told me that he and his Iron Golem friend used to be protectors of their village before the players came and took it over. The sapling was very important to him, and he asked the Iron Golem to protect it from anyone he didn't trust. Well, if this was important to you and your friend, then you can have it.
No, that sapling will be very useful to you in the future. As promised, the blood crystal is yours.
The Blood Golem handed me the blood crystal, and I thanked him for his help. He then also told me that he would help me out in the future if I ever needed him. I just might take you up on that offer. I left the Blood Temple and headed for Ravana's hut. On days 39 to 41, I made it outside of Ravana's hut and called out to her, letting her know that I had returned. Ravana came out and was pleased to see me.
Young Blood Warden, have you collected the blood crystal?
I handed her the blood crystal, and she told me to take down one of the swamp trees and collect the wood. I did as she asked. Ravana told me to craft a stick, and after I did, I gave it to her. She told me she would be right back and entered back into her hut. Large flashes of light can be seen inside of her hut, and then there was an explosion. Ravana, is everything all right? Ravana came back out of her hut and revealed to me the blood sword.
This sword is stronger than any other material you could obtain in this world. Use it wisely.
I thanked her for crafting the sword and was about to leave when she stopped me.
Be careful, young Blood Warden. You are reaching the point that Bloody Herobrine will want to absorb you. Once you reach that point, he will stop at nothing to get you.
I told her that I would keep that in mind and made my way back to my base. As I was getting closer to the base, I could hear the sound of explosions and rattled screams.
Somebody help me!
Where is the Blood Warden? Insect, I know that he lives here.
I ran to find my base completely destroyed. Rattles was running away from Bloody Herobrine. Pick on someone your own size.
Warden, I know you've gotten stronger. Show me why I should absorb you.
I told Rattles to go find somewhere to hide and began a fight against Bloody Herobrine. I used my Sonic Boom to knock him back to the ground. He seemed stunned for a moment.
Is that all you've got?
Bloody Herobrine punched me and sent me flying to the other side of base. He started floating up in the air and hit me with some of his lightning. I was in so much pain. I could barely stay standing.
Pathetic. Even after all this time, including your blood upgrades, you're still not worthy.
Bloody Herobrine teleported out of the base. I started to pass out. On days 45 to 47, I finally woke up to the sound of rattles.
Warden, please wake up.
Ow, I'm awake. He was so relieved to see that I was okay.
I'm so sorry about the base. Bloody Herobrine came out of nowhere and messed the whole place up.
I told him not to worry about it and reassured him that I was going to defeat him in no time. But first, we needed to rebuild our home. I ventured out of the base and used my diamond tools to collect as much wood and stone that I could collect. I returned and rebuilt the farm while Rattles came back with more chickens and cows. I used the stone that I collected to make bigger and better versions of mine and Rattles' houses. There, now the base is back to what it once was, but better. Rattles still looked upset, and I asked him what was bothering him.
I'm still useless. I
You are
couldn't
not
even
useless,
fight
Rattles.
back against Bloody Herobrine. What am I supposed to do if the base is in danger again?
Actually, I might have a solution to that. I found a nice area in the base and planted the blood sapling. I told Rattles to wait and left the base. I ventured throughout the world and eventually came across a cave and went inside of it. The cave was full of diamonds. I used my diamond pickaxe to mine enough diamonds to complete my diamond armor set. Just like the diamond helmet, the moment that I equipped the rest of the armor, it immediately changed into the blood versions. I felt my blood powers growing, and I noticed that I gained 5 more hearts thanks to the armor upgrades. I went deeper into the cave and saw spiders dwelling inside of it. Perfect. Using my blood sword, I quickly killed the spiders and collected the strings that they left behind. I left the cave and returned to base to find Rattles in a panic.
The sapling! It grew into a huge tree!
Perfect! We went over to where I planted the tree, and it finally grew into a large blood tree. I used my axe and cut down the blood tree to collect its wood. I then used the string that I got from the spiders and crafted the materials together to make a bloody bow. Here, now you have something to defend yourself with.
This is for me? Thanks, Blood Warden. This really means a lot.
I told Rattles that it was no problem and opened the recipe book to look up the next blood item. On days 51 and 53, I started my journey in finding the next blood item, the blood totem. I opened the recipe book and it said that I needed to acquire an enchanted totem inside. I could find it in a woodland mansion. The recipe book then said that the totem was being guarded by a crazy evoker who was much stronger than anything else that I fought before. This was going to be the hardest task in the book so far, but I was prepared for whatever came my way. It started to get darker, so I decided to stop briefly and built a small camp to rest. I ate some bread when I suddenly heard the sound of footsteps. Then out of nowhere, a group of Endermen teleported in front of me. They were covered in blood, which only meant one thing. They worked for Bloody Herobrine. The only thing that you've come to do is die. I quickly pulled out my blood sword and took down one of the Endermen. The other Endermen teleported in different places trying to distract me. I calmly stood still and waited for the Endermen to show themselves. You idiots must have forgotten one thing about wardens. The Enderman teleported in front of me, and I immediately cut him down. We have great hearing. The last Enderman was shocked, and I used my Sonic Boom to defeat him. Thanks for the warm-up, guys. Now I'm ready to find that totem. I continued my journey to find the totem, and eventually came across a forest covered in blood. This must have been the blood forest that the recipe book mentioned. I made my way to the center of it, and came upon a woodland mansion. I went inside the mansion, and there was the enchanted totem, but right next to it was the evoker. He introduced himself as Seven, and he told me that he was related to the other blood entities. Then you know why I'm here. I need that totem that you're guarding so that I can use it to defeat Herobrine.
I don't care about your stupid quest, you fool. I only care about me and me alone.
Wow, talk about egotistical. Well, guess I've got no other choice but to fight you. We began our battle, and Seven summoned Fangs to try and harm me. I dodged the attack and used my Sonic Boom to knock Seven aside. I charged at the evoker, but he kept summoning Fangs. I moved back and realized that I didn't take too much damage thanks to my armor upgrades. Seven then summoned Vexes, but I quickly took them down using my blood sword.
Impossible! How can this be?
I charged at Seven and used the sword to finally take him down. The evoker left behind the enchanted totem, and I collected it and left the woodland mansion. On days 57 to 59, I made my way out of the blood forest and returned to Ravana's hut.
So, you were able to beat that crazy evoker and collect the totem. Good work, young Blood Warden.
I gave Ravana the enchanted totem and asked her if she would be able to turn it into a blood totem. The witch told me that she couldn't do it. Wait, what? What do you mean you can't change the totem?
The last thing you need to do to make the blood totem is dip it into the pool of blood deep in the blood dimension.
The blood dimension? Ravana told me that the blood dimension was a place that was full of blood, and it was originally where Bloody Herobrine came from. Well, where do I find this blood dimension?
You will need to find a blood portal, and lucky for you, your skeleton friend might know where to find one.
Rattles? How would he know? Ravana told me to trust her and ask Rattles about it. I hesitantly agreed and made my way back to base. I returned, and just when I was about to walk inside, an arrow came flying towards me. I quickly dodged the arrow. Rattles! It's me!
Oh, sorry, Blood Warden. I thought Bloody Herobrine came back to cause trouble again.
If this is how you greet your friends, I don't want to know how you greet your enemies. Rattles apologized and told me that it wouldn't happen again. I didn't know about that, but I asked him if he knew where the blood portal was located.
Blood portal? Oh, you must be talking about the strange portal that I found in the mountains.
Rattles told me that when he went to the top of a mountain, he came across a red, ancient portal.
Out of curiosity, I went inside the portal and I saw a world that was completely covered in blood. It was really creepy, if you ask me. That's where I lost my bow.
I asked him if he knew and how he got there, and he told me that he did. The two of them.
Man, I hate ads.
With a TurboTax expert who will do your taxes for you, you're free to do not taxes.
us ate some cooked chicken to build up our strength and left to go find the blood portal. On days 63 to 65, Rattles and I made our way across a mountainous area in search of the blood portal.
There, it should be at the top of that mountain.
Rattles pointed to the top of the very large mountain, and we made our way towards it. Once we got to the mountain, laughter could be heard, and we looked around to see who it was. Suddenly, Bloody Herobrine appeared above.
Oh, poor little warden. Are you trying to make a blood item to beat me?
Laugh all you want, you lunatic. Once I go to the blood dimension and make the blood totem, you're going down.
You will never make it to my home, Warden. You have no idea, but you're doing everything as I planned.
I pushed Rattles out of the way, and Bloody Herobrine hit us with a bolt of his red lightning. I didn't take much damage, and he was surprised by this. I used my sonic boom to bring him down to the ground. I then used my blood sword on him, and it seemed to damage him a little bit. Bloody Herobrine seemed weirdly happy about this, and knocked me away. He then grabbed Rattles, and teleported the two of them out of here. No! I wanted to go and search for my friend, but I knew if I wanted to end Bloody Herobrine's madness, I needed to make the blood totem. I made my way up the mountain and continued my search. I finally made my way to the top of the mountain in search of the blood portal. I went to the center and came across a strange looking structure. There were skeletons around it, and it looked like it was covered in blood. This has to be the blood portal. There was red obsidian around it, and I wasn't sure how I was going to light it. I opened the recipe book to see if there was any information, but it didn't say anything. Rage started to fill my body, and I was so frustrated. I found the portal to the blood dimension, but this book didn't tell me how to activate it. To top it all off, my friend has been captured by Bloody Herobrine, and who knows what he's gonna do to him? Is this it? Am I supposed to just give up? Suddenly, I could hear footsteps, and the blood golem was there.
I knew you would be looking for the blood portal. I'm glad that I made it here to help.
He told me that he could activate the portal by using his blood essence. Oh my goodness, thank you so much. The blood golem used his blood essence to activate the blood portal. This is amazing. Now, I'm one step closer to defeating Herobrine. On days 69 to 71, I prepared myself to enter the blood dimension.
Be careful, Blood Warden. The blood essence is at its strongest in the blood dimension. You may find it hard to hold your inner rage.
I thanked the blood golem for the warning and went through the portal. I was inside the blood dimension. Wow, no kidding. The world was completely covered in blood. Suddenly, rage started to fill my body, and I was starting to freak out. Ow! What is this? This must have been the blood essence that the blood golem mentioned earlier. Okay, control my rage. Control it! I ventured throughout the dimension and eventually came across a pool filled with blood. I took out the totem and walked inside of it. After a minute, I walked out of the blood pool and came out with the blood totem. I can feel myself getting stronger. Now, I can go and take down Herobrine. Suddenly, a vision popped in my head and I started to black out. When I woke up, I found myself in a strange castle. Where was I? I walked throughout it until I found a pool of lava and Rattles. He was dangling above the lava. Bloody Herobrine was there too.
Please get me down from here.
Sure, I'll let you down. Right into lava.
Ah, I was back in the blood dimension. Rattles is in trouble, but I knew where he was now. I quickly left the blood dimension and began my journey to save my friend. I made my way throughout the world until I finally reached the castle where Rattles was being held. Don't worry, buddy. I'm gonna get you out of here. I noticed that the castle was being guarded by some of Bloody Herobrine's henchmen. I couldn't afford to cause a commotion, so I snuck past them and quietly made my way through the castle. I eventually found where Rattles was being held.
Blood Warden!
Shh! Do you want the entire castle to know that I'm here? Rattles apologized, and I quickly freed him. I looked around to see where Bloody Herobrine was, and Rattles told me that he had disappeared after he finished hurting him. The two of us made our way to the exit, but Bloody Herobrine teleported in front of me. Now that I have the blood totem, I told Bloody Herobrine that I was ready to end him.
You fool! I wanted you to create that blood totem. Now I can fight an even stronger Blood Warden and absorb up all your power.
Bloody Herobrine began his assault on us, and Rattles and I quickly dodged his red lightning. Thanks to the blood totem, I had a stronger sonic boom and used it to knock Bloody Herobrine to the ground. Bloody Herobrine teleported behind me to attack, but Rattles shot him with an arrow from his bloody bow. Thank you, Rattles, but that only made Bloody Herobrine angrier. He summoned lightning all around the area and greatly wounded me. Bloody Herobrine was about to hit me with another bolt, but Rattles got in the way and took the hit. Rattles, no! I ran over to my friend and knew that he was dying. You've got to get out of here.
It's too late for me. You need to leave, Blood Warden. Defeat Bloody Herobrine. Not just for yourself, but for everyone.
My friend died in front of me. No! He left behind his bloody bow. I collected the bow and ran out of the castle as fast as I could.
Run all you want, Blood Warden. Your days are numbered.
On days 75 to 77, I sadly returned to the base where the blood golem was waiting for me.
Blood Warden, it's good to see that you're safe. Where is your skeleton friend?
I pulled out Rattle's bow and showed it to the golem, revealing to him that Rattles was gone. The blood golem told me that he was sorry for what happened, but knew that I was going to avenge my friend. I agreed with him and used the resources that I left over to build a grave for Rattles and honored him. I'm sorry, Rattles. I wish I could have been stronger to stop Herobrine. I promise. I'll make him pay for what he's done. I decided to build a house for the blood golem to stay in, and the blood golem thanked me. I thanked him for helping me get inside of the blood dimension and helping me along my journey.
I'm only returning the favor after you saved my village from those players, but I promise to be by your side till the end.
I decided to go to my house and rest for the night. I woke up from my slumber and decided that it would be best to return to Ravana. I should tell her that I acquired the blood totem. I made my way through the swamps and reached her hut. The witch came out and was glad to see that I was safe.
It looks like you have all the blood items, but you seem troubled, young Blood Warden.
I told Ravana about what happened in regards to the blood totem, and I also told her about Rattles. I should have been able to take down Bloody Herobrine, but I wasn't, and now my friend's gone because of it. What's going on, Ravana? What am I missing?
You are not yet ready to fight Bloody Herobrine. There is still one more thing you need that the recipe book does not mention.
The witch handed me a strange lantern, and I asked her what I would do with it.
Take this soul lantern and go back to where it all started for you. Only then will you find your answers.
The place where it all started? Oh, that place. I knew what Ravana was talking about and made my way back to the ancient city. On days 81 to 85, I finally made my way back to the city and looked at all of the destruction that Bloody Herobrine had caused all of those days ago. Memories of watching my people get killed by him started to flood my mind, and all I could feel was sadness. I walked through the city, and the bodies of my warden brethren were still laying there. This wasn't the city that I was born in anymore. It was just a graveyard for all of my species that came before me.